Is your Social Security check barely covering your basic expenses? Are you one of the millions of Americans struggling to make ends meet on your current SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits? Well, stay tuned because today we're breaking down the Speaker's recent vote on the 2100 Act that could dramatically increase your monthly payments to $3,800 starting as soon as April 10th. Before we dive into all the details about this potential game changer for beneficiaries, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates on Social Security benefits, disability payments, and veteran support programs. The hallways of Congress have been buzzing with intense debate over the past few weeks as representatives consider what many are calling the most significant overhaul to Social Security in decades, the 2100 Act. Officially titled the Social Security Enhancement and Protection Act of 2100, has moved forward after a crucial vote from the Speaker, potentially paving the way for substantial increases to monthly payments for millions of Americans who depend on these benefits. But what exactly does this mean for you if you're receiving SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits? And is this $3,800 monthly payment figure actually legitimate? First, let's understand the context behind this proposed legislation. For years, advocates have argued that Social Security benefits have failed to keep pace with the true cost of living. Many recipients find themselves having to choose between paying for medications, putting food on the table, or keeping their utilities on. The current average monthly benefit hovers around $1,700, which falls significantly short for many seniors and disabled Americans trying to maintain even a modest standard of living. Have you found yourself making these impossible financial choices month after month despite having worked and contributed to the system for decades? The 2100 Act aims to address this growing crisis through several key provisions. At its core, the legislation proposes a new calculation method for benefits that would result in substantially higher monthly payments for qualifying individuals. The headline figure of $3,800 represents the maximum monthly payment that would be available to those who meet specific criteria based on their work history, disability status, and current financial situation. It's important to note that not everyone would receive exactly this amount. Payments would be adjusted based on individual circumstances, but the overall increase would be significant for virtually all recipients. For SSI recipients, who are currently subject to some of the strictest income and asset limits of any federal program, the Act would also reform these restrictive rules. Currently, individuals receiving SSI cannot have more than $2,000 in assets, $3,000 for couples, a limit that hasn't been meaningfully adjusted since the 1980s. Can you imagine trying to prepare for any financial emergency with such limited savings allowed? The new legislation would raise these limits substantially and index them to inflation, giving beneficiaries more financial flexibility and dignity. SSDI recipients would see changes too. The current system creates what many call a disability cliff, where recipients risk losing all benefits if they attempt to work and earn over a certain threshold. The 2100 Act introduces a gradual phase-out system that would allow disabled Americans to attempt returning to work without the fear of suddenly losing their entire safety net. What difference would it make in your life if you could try working part-time without risking everything? For our veterans receiving VA benefits, the legislation includes provisions to better coordinate between VA disability compensation and Social Security benefits, eliminating some of the current complications that can reduce overall benefit amounts. Veterans who have served our country would potentially see their combined benefits rise closer to the $3,800 figure being discussed. Now, about that April 10th date that's generating so much buzz online. According to the current legislative calendar, if the bill completes its journey through Congress and receives presidential signature before the end of March, the Social Security Administration would begin implementation preparations immediately. The April 10th date represents the earliest possible timeline for the first increased payments to hit accounts, though realistically many experts believe a phased rollout would be more likely. So what has actually happened with the Speaker's vote? In a procedural move last week, the Speaker broke with some members of their party to allow the bill to move forward to full floor consideration. This doesn't guarantee passage, but it does represent a significant hurdle cleared. The vote signals potential bipartisan recognition that the current benefit structure is inadequate for millions of Americans. Critics of the legislation have raised concerns about funding these increased benefits. The 2100 Act addresses this through several mechanisms, including adjusting the payroll tax cap. Currently, Social Security taxes are only collected on income up to $168,600 for 2024, meaning high-income earners stop contributing once they hit this ceiling. The proposed legislation would gradually eliminate this cap, requiring contributions on all income above certain thresholds. Additionally, the bill proposes a modest payroll tax increase phased in over several years. Supporters argue these funding changes ensure the solvency of the trust fund for generations while providing much-needed relief to current beneficiaries. Opponents question whether the economic impact of these tax adjustments has been fully considered. Where do you stand on this balance between adequate benefits and funding mechanisms? It's worth addressing some misinformation that's been circulating online about this legislation. Some social media posts have claimed the increased benefits would only apply to certain groups or would require complicated application processes. According to the actual text of the bill, increases would apply across all categories of Social Security beneficiaries, though the exact amount would vary based on individual factors. The implementation would be automatic for existing beneficiaries. No new application would be required for those already in the system. Another common question involves the timing of payments. If approved, would everyone receive their increase on April 10th? The reality is that while this date represents the target for initial implementation, the Social Security Administration would likely need to roll out increases according to their existing payment schedule. This means some beneficiaries might see increases in April, while others might need to wait until their regular payment date in May. For those wondering about retroactive payments, the current version of the bill does not include provisions for backdating the increases. The higher payment amounts would begin with the first payment cycle after implementation, with no lump sum to cover previous months at the lower benefit rate. What steps should you take while waiting to see if this legislation passes? First, stay informed through official channels rather than relying solely on social media for your information. The Social Security Administration's official website will be the most reliable source for updates on any benefit changes. Second, consider reaching out to your representatives in Congress to share your perspective on this legislation. Your personal story about how current benefit levels impact your daily life can help inform their position on this critical issue. If the 2100 Act does pass in its current form, financial advisors recommend reviewing your overall financial situation to determine how best to utilize any increase in monthly income. For many, addressing deferred medical care, reducing high-interest debt, or making essential home repairs might be priorities. Have you thought about what difference an additional $1,500 to $2,000 per month would make in your quality of life? The coming weeks will be crucial for the future of this legislation. Committee discussions are scheduled to continue through the end of the month, with a potential floor vote anticipated in early April if the current momentum continues. Both supporters and critics acknowledge that whatever the outcome, the attention this bill has received highlights the growing recognition that Social Security benefits in their current form are falling short for millions of Americans. As we continue to monitor developments with the 2100 Act and its potential impact on SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits, we'll bring you regular updates on this channel. What questions do you have about how these changes might affect your specific situation? Drop them in the comments below, and we'll address the most common concerns in our next video. And if you found this information valuable, please take a moment to like this video and share it with others who might benefit. Remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest updates on Social Security benefits and other financial resources for seniors and disabled Americans. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.